Morning victory. Mother's Day 2020. So excited to have you here this morning. It's going to be a great day for mums. I'm sure all of their kids and those around them are going to treasure you today, and that's my plan for my mum and even for my wife, who is a great mum. And sometimes even mothers me, to be honest. Happy Mother's Day on 2020. My name is Bruce Horton. I am the pastor at Victory Community Wangaratta, and today we are going to begin with watching a few clips of those that are going to share what's so great about mums. Please enjoy.
Hi, I'm Beck, and happy Mother's Day. Bruce has asked us to talk about what's great about mums, and I think the thing for me is that mums come in lots of different shapes and sizes, and I don't mean fat and skinny. I mean that being a mum isn't necessarily about biology, it's about the natural ability that many women have to nurture and care and support and encourage. And I've been really blessed to have women like that in my life who have nurtured me, who have encouraged me and has supported me to be the woman that I am today, and continue to support and encourage me for whatever it is that my future brings. So I'm grateful not just for the biological mums in the world, but for the mums that give us what we need to be all that we can be. Thanks. Hope you have a great day.
What's so great about mothers? And for me, there's two great things about mothers, and the first one is having a mother. I'm so grateful to my mum for praying for me, particularly at critical times in my life, and also for introducing me to the Lord and bringing me to faith. I can never thank her enough for those things. And the second thing that's great about mums is being a mum. When I had my first child, Dan, nearly 31 years ago, I felt like my life had actually found its purpose, and the love that I felt was so fierce and so strong and so passionate. It was unlike anything. And as I look back now, I realise that that's the sort of love that God has for us. There's a beautiful verse in Song of Songs, chapter 8, that was actually my marriage verse, but also sums up this fierce, passionate love that I have for my children as a mother. And it says this, for love is as strong as death, its jealousy unyielding as the grave. It burns like a blazing fire, like a mighty flame. Many waters cannot quench love, rivers cannot sweep it away. If one were to give all the wealth of one's house for love, it would be utterly scorned. I love my children, and I have loved them more and more as they've got older and now are adults, and now I've got my beautiful Amos, my grandson. So for me, the most wonderful thing about mothers is actually being one. Thanks.
Mother's Day is a day to give thanks and to show gratitude, whether it's for our own natural mother, a foster mother, an adoptive mother, a spiritual mother, our mother-in-law, a stepmother, or just someone who's been a mother figure to us in our life. We can be reminded that God's grand plan for motherhood is the same plan He has for everything He's created. He created all things for His glory. Motherhood is about nurturing life, bringing encouragement, teaching, loving, and releasing young people to live a good and great life. God created and equipped women to nurture the life He creates, both biological and spiritual. We are not in this alone. God has equipped us. We just need to ask Him for His help. It has been a little more than 18 years since my mother went home to be with the Lord. I still miss her, and I'm thankful that she was my greatest supporter and encourager. Happy Mother's Day.
For me, becoming a mum is one of the most fulfilling experiences of my whole life. It's also the thing that's brought me the most joy and the most heartache. My own mum was a terrific mum. She always had my back. She loved me unconditionally, and she was my prayer warrior. And now with my own kids, I know that there's nothing I wouldn't do for them. And I pray for them, and I know that as a mum, praying for your children is a privilege. And now, I'm now a grandma, and that too is amazing. I would probably the quote that sums it up for me is this: making the decision to have a child, it is momentous. It is to decide forever to have your heart go walking around outside your body. I'm grateful to be a mum. I wouldn't swap it for anything.
Hi! Hi! Being a mom isn't always easy. The sleepless night, the constant worry, but no matter how hard it feels, I always show up for my kids. I always try my best because from the very first moment, I held them in my arms. I know that my job was to protect and love them with all my heart. So by the grace of God, I'm still alive. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day.
Wow, what a privilege to watch those clips from some of those in our community of sharing what is so good about mums. Thank you to all those who contributed. And I know for some it was a hard thing to do emotionally, and you have brought us a gift this morning. So I just want to honour you and thank all those that put those clips together this morning. Look, mums are so special. Mums shape us, mums establish us, mums nurture us, and none of us would be here without a mum. And we all need those today who will mother us. Today I want to share a little bit about our need for mums and also the fact that any of us can be a mum, even a male, and I mean that with no disrespect. Because I'm not talking about giving birth biologically, as amazing as that is. This does not make a mum in the sense of what we've heard through the stories just from those clips just before. And just giving birth doesn't mean that we nurture and raise someone as our own, nor do we sacrifice and pour our lives out for others' benefits. For me, mothering is a heart thing. And this morning I want to look at both Naomi and Ruth in the Bible and the story they tell of people in need. Ruth, of her need for a mum, of having someone who can nurture her and shape her and who she can find her identity in and through. And also the value of being a mum in Naomi, raising and establishing another into wholeness, being all they can be. Look, just as a quick backstory of these, Naomi, the mum in this story, was married. She had 2 sons, and all of which her husband and her 2 kids died. Her 2 sons had wives, and those 2 wives lived with her. One was Orpah and the other was Ruth. And in those days, women didn't have as much opportunity as we do have today. And so sticking together was actually important to protect and to provide for one another. Now, Ruth was not native to Naomi's family. She had her own family that she could go back to, as did Orpah, and in another land. And Naomi thought that the opportunities for Ruth and Orpah, if they stayed, were slim. And so Naomi tried to release these 2 girls back into their own families, back to where they were, obligation free, even though she had almost this right over these girls to repay her and stuff like that. She wanted to release them. And Orpah took the offer up, and she went back to her family, and we hear nothing more about her. Her story sort of finishes in the Bible right at that point. But Naomi shows what mums do in doing this. Mums like Naomi want good for their children, even those that are not their biological children, like Ruth and Naomi, and they want to be able to release and see their children do greater things than them. And Naomi just demonstrates the role of a mum in one who sacrifices her own gain for the gain of another. She wants more for them than for herself. And Naomi is a woman willing to sacrifice her rights, her comfort, her protection to see others, not her own, go on and do well, live free and fabulous lives. And this is what love is, not holding on but letting go, releasing another into freedom. It's so hard to do this emotionally when we're attached, but the gift of motherhood is to see another become all that they can be, even as we let them go, not holding on and giving of ourselves sacrificially. And you know what? We all need mums like this, even if not your own, who do not think of themselves over us, but think of our good. And to have someone who will invest and to serve us and to see us become better with no strings attached. You know, Jesus laid his life down for us so that we could do greater things. This is what mothers do. And it's interesting, Jesus says in one place that his desire was always to gather us together like a mother hen her chicks, but we weren't willing. And it seems in opposition to itself. Jesus wants to gather, but instead he lays his life down to set us free. My mum loves it when I'm around her and she gets to see me, or at least she tells me that. But she also loves to hear the things that I'm doing when I've been released and how well I'm doing. She's invested and sacrificially gives of herself all the time, even to this day, to see me becoming all I can be, not thinking of her own gain. And this is what mums do. And I love my mum, and happy Mother's Day. But alongside my biological mum, I've had others who have mothered me and nurtured me. Not always women either, but those who have poured their lives and their love out and cared for me in a sacrificial way to see me become healthier and to see me become free and thriving. And we all need these mums in our lives, those who will care for us, mums who will think on where and what our life can be and pour themselves out to see us achieve this. And so Ruth, instead of Orpah, clings to her mum, to Naomi. Ruth realizes that she needs mums like this in her life, even if not her own biological one. And when Ruth was offered freedom from Naomi, she refuses and pleads to stay and come with her. And in Ruth 1:16, the verse I'm going to read today, but Ruth replied, "Don't urge me to leave or to turn my back from you. Where you go, I will go. And where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God." Ruth knew she needed a mum who would nurture and love and care for her, who would put her own needs aside for the health and welfare of another. There have been times I have thought like Orpah, that I don't need to stay under the care of my mum or those that have nurtured me and cared for me, that are those that have been saying, Bruce, we've got all this good for you. And I've said, no, I'm going to go and do my own thing like Orpah. And the reality is it's actually left me vulnerable and often left me in a place where I've only been hurting myself. And if when I've done that, it's as if my story stops that's worth telling like Orpah, when I've turned away from those who've mothered me and nurtured me into my wholeness. And so I need to surround myself with people like Naomi's, who don't think of their own gain, but of others, who aren't holding on as much as they want to, but rather they are constantly releasing and freeing like Jesus. I need mums like this in my life, and I believe you do too. Those are the ones that we should run to, that we should cling to, that we should live and die with, as Ruth says that she's going to. These are the ones that shape us. We want to be people like those people. And I believe there are many in our community who need the love and care and nurture of a mother. And equally, I believe there's many of us who have the capacity to mother, to nurture and love and to care for another. Not for our own self-gain, but rather and not just to gather close and to never let go and to hold on and to make our lives more rich, but rather so that we can lay our lives down for another, to give ourselves for their gain, to do something truly noble, to do something truly good and honourable. And victory, this is mothering, thinking of another before ourselves, of nurturing. That is actually who we're trying to be. This is who we are as a community, Victory. We are a community who nurture and mother one another. And the results speak for themselves. So Naomi shows what mums achieve. Now check this out. After Ruth sticks with Naomi and rather than goes her own way, Ruth was actually given the opportunity to be like all the other girls in her time and in that village and stuff like that, to chase after the young men and to, you know, lower her self-worth and to feel vulnerable and that she had to do things. But no, she didn't. She had a higher sense of self-worth. And Ruth was also known for being a hard worker. She earned her keep. And not only did she earn her keep, she actually shared it with her stepmom. She was not a burden, but an asset to Naomi, her mum. And Ruth finally married a good, honourable, noble man. And she gave birth to a generation of children known for their goodness. Some of Ruth's descendants include King David and Jesus Christ himself. Although she didn't literally birth those, she birthed their parents. And she, you know, like she created a generations that even exist today, that we would say the world is a better place as a result of what Ruth did. Because when you are nurtured and cared for by a good mum like Naomi, or when you are surrounding yourself with those who love and protect and care for you, you become a healthier, whole person, not given to temptation, not vulnerable, not left alone. And you get to make really great choices in life, which means that actually your offspring and those around you and those that you mother and nurture and care for become healthy, whole, great people. And you know, we have a legacy to leave. Victory, you and I, our nurture will be seen in the generations to come, that like King David and like Jesus Christ, the world will be a better place for. Mums pass on values. They pass on expectations. They hope for greater things to come, and they are willing to sacrifice themselves to see this happen for another person's gain. And these things that get passed on, you know, your people will be my people, your God will be my God. We get to pass that on as good mums. And to all those mums out there that nurture like this, I want to say thank you today. I want to say thank you. Please continue your good work, your good service unto others, to love, to care, to nurture, to pour yourself out and sacrificially give to see others thrive. Words can't say it enough. But thank you. Thank you for your love. And for your passing on your values and believing in someone saying they're worth something and what good that does for another person. It's amazing. Mums, you're awesome. Thank you. And Victory, as a community, we have a massive call and shoes to fill today. We are called to nurture, we are called to mother, we're called to love and to care for one another, to lay our lives down and to see another rise up to a healthier, whole, good values, good ethics, good character, to see the next generation write a story like Ruth of birthing King David's and Jesus Christ's. We are to pass on every good thing we receive from our mum and those we have raised and taught us the ways of God. And so we want to leave that legacy of health and wholeness for generations to come across the northeast of Victoria and across the whole globe. We want to see you do greater things. And this is the gift that mums have to their children. And this is the gift that victory will be to our community as we nurture and raise those around us to wholeness. Hey mums, I want to grant you and give you the blessing of a great day. Know that as kids we never know how to say thank you enough or as much as you deserve, but know that we are truly thankful beyond words. Happy Mother's Day. Hey, there's a scripture that tells us that as often as we meet together, we should celebrate communion. And we should remember, as we are remembering mums today, so we should also be remembering Jesus, who sacrificially gave his life to make us better. So I don't want to finish today without us taking communion. So if you've got some cake or something, this is a fruit and yogurt cake, I believe, and some ribena that I've got here. But you can have whatever you like. But I think it is appropriate that even on Mother's Day that we do remember and thank Jesus for his sacrifice, because his life resulted in over a whole third of the world calling themselves children of God. Jesus actually birthed and is raising up even today many children of God. And his legacy has been the advancement and improvement of life all over the earth as a result of him sacrificially giving. He has made the place a better place, a whole place. Anything good that you can think of has its heritage back to the example of Jesus Christ. To be it his justice, his goodness, his honourable, being such an honourable man, his mercy, his grace, his kindness, his compassion, his healing, his empowering of the weak to be strong. His ability to parent, in fact, others. All of his disciples and all those that came to him, he has raised up and made healthier and whole. And he is willing to lay down his life for us even today. So we want to say thank you to Jesus too. And let us not forget, but follow in his footsteps all the more. So with that, let us remember and let us thank Jesus this morning. Thank you, Jesus. We drink to you, Jesus. Cheers. So there we have it, Victory. Mother's Day 2020. Mums, have the best day. Have the best day. May you be surrounded by all those that love you, and may it be really joy-filled for you. Thanks, mums, and thanks for tuning in. And at 11 o'clock this morning, we'll do our live stream where we get to interact a little bit more. And maybe you might want to share a story of yourself, of mothering, who's mothered you, and the different forms that those mums can come in. Anyway, be blessed, and I will see you soon. Thanks for tuning in.